You're listening to On the Margins with me, Dan O'Sullivan.
And me, Eamon Stack-Mulvihill.
In this podcast, we will examine sites of education which are off the beaten track, non-traditional, non-typical, but diverse and exceptional, looking at learners who are often marginalised and ignored. So we're delighted to have in studio with us today Margaret O'Brien, and she is a co-founder of Limerick Traveller Network. We also have student, singer and social media star Mikey McCarthy. So guys, you're very welcome here in studio today.
Thank you very much, thank you.
Today is Traveller Pride. It's the first time Traveller Pride has been on in UL. Eamon and I were honoured last year to be invited to the West End there in, we call it Ballacurra, to celebrate Traveller Pride, and we had Michael's wonderful singing there again last year, and we had some of it again today.
Oh, thank you.
This morning, I suppose the day kicked off with the flag. The flag raising
ceremony.
So there's a new flag. Is what's the man's name? Jesse Collins.
Yeah.
David Collins.
David Collins. He goes by Jesse.
So he designed the flag.
Yeah.
And
we may as well say Phil Collins then. We've all talked about famous names.
It wasn't Phil Collins, no. But the flag was raised outside the White House this morning. Given and then there was a presentation in the new student centre. It was very good to hear, voices from the traveller community, and especially a lot of them celebrating the achievements. So I'm not a traveller, but it was really great to be part of the day today. I'm just kind of, first question I'm going to ask for both of you, I suppose, how do you feel after, an event like this?
I'll let you go first, Margaret.
Thanks, Mikey.
No problem.
Yeah, it was absolutely magnificent to see everybody come together, and the sense of pride. I suppose the biggest moment for me was celebrating our new flag. And the fact that one of our own designed it and everything, and he didn't have the support of the government or any funding towards it or anything, and he just went on and done it, and fair play to them and their representation too of men's mental health, because we have very, very few male role models that work in mental health for the traveller community. And as you're aware, the suicide rates and mental health rates are very high within the traveller community, but in particular among men. So I suppose if I was to pick the highlight of the day, I suppose I would have picked that, listening to the lads talk about their job and their passion and everything, and I suppose listening about the flag as well. It was a great sense of pride, I think, and to do it in UL as well was a huge thing.
Yeah, and it was great to have it in UL as well, because the tech report, the Traveller Education Change Report, was launched in Mary I. And I kind of felt UL had. I spent 10 years in Mary I myself, but I felt UL had missed a trick. Mikey, the same question to you. What are your feelings around Traveller Pride?
Would you believe it? I absolutely love it, to be honest with you. It brought me that much, and basically, I'm so proud. I'm so proud of what the men are doing, because it is, like Margaret said, traveller suicide, especially in men, is a big, big thing. I went through a lot myself in the last 3 years. I've turned around my life, and I'm lucky here, only for I found my inner strength. I found my own, the strength to obviously come out as gay in the travel community, but also find my inner strength to actually love myself and care about myself. And basically, it's a big thing. I love to see other traveller men creating an organisation, doing things to promote and to better traveller mental health, because I'd love to see men in my community, because a lot of traveller men I know, some of them was very horses and stuff like that, and they don't kind of talking about their business. They don't kind of come out with their feelings, because it's not a thing. You're brought up in a travel, you're you're meant to be kind of manly, what I mean? You're not expressing your feelings. Can you think oh, am I going to be scalded for doing it? Am I going to be, the boys are going to laugh at me and stuff like that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
in that kind of way.
So there was a presentation today from the National Traveller Men's Forum. David, aka Jesse Collins. There was John Collins, who works for Exchange House.
John Paul, sorry.
Yeah. And there was Paddy Sweeney.
Paddy Sweeney, yeah.
And then Maureen Ward was there as well, but she's not a man.
But she's tough though. She's tough.
She's lovely.
She's on the board of the National Traveller Men's Forum.
She's Minker-Widden, yeah.
I've been to a couple of traveller events, and even the graduation ceremony where there was so many travellers.
Were you at that as well?
You
don't miss much.
I was lurking in the shadows. It was largely a female representation. Was there one man?
There was 14 of us. There was one man, David McCarthy, but he didn't go to the graduation, as far as we know. He wasn't there yet.
So it's very important. I don't want to say that women's issues aren't important, but I think there's maybe an extra layer of marginalisation for traveller men.
Yeah.
When it's like basically what I think personally, when you think of travelling women, it's not necessarily the thing that like the violence thing about. When a lot of people think of travelling men, like, oh my god, they're very violent and everything's all fighting and stuff like that. But that's not necessarily the thing, you know. I mean, it's like I say, it's a true saying, it's an old saying. There's good and bad in every community. No matter where you go in the world, there's good and bad.
With our community, we're all branded the same. Like,
everything's branded the same.
Social media and everything.
And I'll be honest with you, I don't think the newspapers and the people that publish it in the news and stuff do a good job of promoting the good side of it. Huh?
Yeah.
Because everything you see in the papers is negative. This traveller did this traveller did that. We're not all like that. You know what I mean? For me, my personal, all I want to do is live a normal life and to have a job, live a normal life, like anyone else. You know what I mean? That's all I want to be. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of travellers like that.
When Olive was here, Mikey, she spoke about a double disadvantage.
Yeah.
In that if you're a traveller living in a disadvantaged area, so like if you're in South Hill or someplace, you're automatically in a desh area. So when you go to the local primary school, there's homework clubs there for the kids.
But saying that now, like Castle Try, like I grew up in Castle Try, and that's a very established area. But
same size.
Like even in school now, I kind of felt left out. You know what I mean? Yeah. Even in secondary school, I felt left out. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I was getting at. There was kind of a double disadvantage in that in Castle Try, those services aren't automatically in the community because Castle Try
there's no support for travellers in Castle Try. To be honest with you,
Castle Try be seen as an affluent area. But then, Mikey, you have this kind of problem accentuated again, this double disadvantage or a double discrimination, because you're a gay man within the traveller community. So it's rare enough you hear about travellers being
in that
gay.
form, like there's a lot of travellers that are different than me. You know what I mean? When I come out, like when I was terrified, but I got a good reaction. Like even the men in my site, like, and that's hard for the men to say. Like they said to me, like, well, I don't agree obviously with what he said, but that's your life. You know what I mean? That's your life. You do what you want to do if it makes you happy. But in my opinion, I don't agree with it. But it's not up to me. I don't control your life. That's basically their opinions on it. Like, and I'm not like, and basically the same people said to me, like, if anyone who tries to body you, let us know. I mean, we'll be there for you. Like, and then one way it's kind of changing. As the time go on, it's changing. Years ago it was different. Like I know a lot of travelling for us. Like I talked to many like gay travelling men, even UK men, and it was like they had a lot worse. Some of them was like in hostels. They got thrown up by their families. Like, I mean, so I was very lucky, in a way. You know what I mean?
We're in UL today. I started here in 2002, which is a lifetime ago. But when I started coming up to kind of Rag Week and things like that, there was posters around the place. And I suppose in 2002, although a lot of progress had been made in terms of gay rights, there was a lot of people who still weren't kind of there. And there was posters up for Queer Bash.
Sorry, I'll cut you off. In my opinion, I think there's even still, like, being a gay traveller, I think there's gay pride, and then like the way the publicise it now is like traveller gay pride. I think the two things should be together. You know what I mean? The two things should be, we all should be treated the same. Every gay person should be the same. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, it's nice to celebrate your nationality and stuff. I'm very proud of who I am. But it's nice, like, to think, like, to walk in any, like, gay pride and, like, be on your traveller and still feel comfortable, you know what I mean? That's what I'd like. Everyone to get on together, you know what I mean?
Yeah, ideally that'd be
great.
You know what I
mean? It'd be great, like, unfortunately.
When I was 17 and I'm walking around UL, I see these posters for Queer Bash, which sounds like a hate crime.
It does.
But I suppose it was organised by the Out in UL Society, and they were kind of doing a play on words, and they were saying, this is the gay party. The slogan was come out wherever you are, Queer Bash. You know, within that, I mean, there's violence, there's queer bashing that goes on.
Very bad violence. It breaks my heart, honest to God, when I hear about it. Like, when I read stories about people just to get attacked for just being who they are.
Yeah.
Like, just being who they are. Like, I see a thing a few months ago, and was on the news down the country, where it's like there's two gay men, obviously, and they do drag. You know what I mean? Do drag, and they're out having a good time. And they were presenting. And these two men came up and verbally attacked them, assaulted them. Do you know what I mean? And all they were there just having a good time and celebrating who they are and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? I thought that was disgusting in my eyes. Like, you know what I mean?
When you came out, you had to come out to your family first. And then...
I'll be honest, when I came out, I went at home. I drove away in my car. I drove away and I drove all that day. Like, honest to God, like, the worst thought to my mind was coming through my head. Like, I was like, if this goes wrong, like, my family's everything, like, to me. And if I lose them, I don't know what I'll do. You know what I mean?
When you came out, you used social media to come out.
I did. I used
social
media.
You knew the people.
The thing was, I always knew. My family asked me. My family had a conversation with me after I came out. my sister's asking me, she said, Mikey, I'm asking you a question. I said, what is it, like, obviously, girls, what is anything? I said, when did you know you were gay? And I said the truth, since I was 11 years of age, I've known my whole life I was gay. I know there was something different, like, obviously, when you're like, it's like a normal straight person, you have attraction to women, I had attraction to men, you know what I mean? And obviously, you know, in the tribal community, it's hard, but you can't say it, you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? I obviously got married to one, but it didn't work out for me, you know what I mean? I didn't want it. I didn't care, you know what I mean? I wasn't fear obviously in her, but you know, things worked out the way they worked out, you know what I mean? But I always knew to get to the point, I knew since I was 11, and social media, like, I always like, I'm the type of person, even if it was never TikTok, I always loved social media, I always loved entertaining, I always love creativity, like, it's even the little setup here, like, when I came in, I was so excited, like, I'm a very creative person, I love things like this, technology and stuff, like a nerd kind of. You know what I mean?
Just so you know, as a UL student, you can book this space.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Podcast coming soon, guys. Thank you, Kenny. Yeah, but just to get your point, TikTok really did give me the strength and stuff like that. They'll come out and stuff.
Yeah, it was a way of kind of connecting with your own voice, I suppose.
Yeah.
And it then,
but it was nice to see when I went on social media. It was nice, like, obviously you hear of gay travellers, like, and obviously there's a few travellers I heard, like, obviously I look at stories before I went on social media and stuff. But it was nice to come onto social media and see there was a big crowd of traveller men that makes videos and see like how they're living. Like, for me, it gave me the motivation as well. Like, even obviously Mikey McCarthy and stuff, how he's living his life. I thought he was so brave. And then there's Darren Collins and then there's Martin Beans Ward. Look at him, like, he's amazing things. And then there's
he was one of the first, wasn't he?
He was one. I think he's one of the first. And then there's another guy called Darren Collins. And there's Dylan as well from my town.
Well,
there's a lot of men.
I met Shane earlier today. I'm a big fan of Beans Ward. I still haven't seen The Dead House.
I know, I love Martin.
Beans, if you're listening, we want that in UHL.
Next travel, Martin.
Get here, Martin. I'll meet up with you.
Martin's too expensive. You couldn't hire Martin.
Yeah.
And I suppose there's a discrimination against people who are gay, and then you've discrimination because you're a member of the travelling community.
Like discrimination that we do face, like, it's not new to me, because like when I hear a story about, like, say, people get put out of this place, and fair enough for I say there is two sides. Like, fair enough, travellers could have done something to cause whatever happened, but most of the time when I see, like, I've been many places around Ireland, and like I've been many times and going into a pub or something with like, say, with family and stuff to have a dinner, and you get refused local zoning. That's all you hear is local zoning. When all you want is the dinner, you know what I mean, or there's a party coming. But then you see no party and you see no local, you know what I mean. Like, do you know what I mean?
Margaret, I was listening to you speaking earlier, and I was making notes. I didn't notice. Margaret, by the way, didn't know she was coming here today. We just kind of caught her at the last second.
I dragged her along. Margaret's my BFF.
For perhaps social support. So you were speaking about social support.
But even when I started, even when I started the college, like, Margaret was that much support to me. But even personally, like, since my coming out and stuff, she was always, like, Margaret was there for me as well. Do you know what I mean? And that's, like, as well. That's why I feel safe for Margaret. Margaret's like she's a good friend, like, I will say.
We're BFFs.
We're BFFs, honest to God, like, I can't get rid of her.
You can see why she was probably one of the founders of the LTN movement. But you were speaking about social support and coming into the big flagpoles there, UL. Am I off my trolley coming in here? That's a direct quote I took from you. You know, social support, not having social support from people from the same background. I wonder, did you make contact with the Access office immediately, or what was your journey like to get you in the gates?
I suppose to get me in the gates, like I was saying, I come in and like that, I went down the driveway, and I suppose, like I was saying earlier on in my talk, I suppose for me personally, I can only talk about myself, but I had a very negative experience at school. And I suppose when you're told all your life that, like, you'll never make anything, you're not worthy of education, you're not worthy of teaching, you're this, you're that, you're everything, you internalise it. And obviously that knocks your confidence completely, and you doubt yourself and you think, am I stupid, am I not able, am I this? And like, my dream was always to be, I always wanted to be a social worker, but I thought, no, never in a million years. Number one, I thought no way would I be intelligent enough to do the degree. Number two, no way would they hire me because I'm a traveller, because I think we all have that in our minds. And so I suppose, like I was saying, the thing that pushed me, I suppose, is that when my children were coming home from school, I couldn't help them with homework, and I felt very embarrassed and very ashamed, because I was there telling my children to go to school and get educated, And the young fella turned around one day and he was like, but you can barely read or write yourself. Why are you telling me? You know, that kind of a thing. And, you know, so I suppose that for me was like, you know what, he's 100% right. I'm here meant to be a role model for my children.
No.
And I can't even read or write. And I left school early and whatever. So I suppose that's how I ended up at 38. I think I came back and did the Access course. But when I came back, like, it was the most overwhelming feeling in my entire life. Now, I'd be fairly plucky, like, I'd try my hand's length thing, it would take a lot to overwhelm me.
You're a confident person. Like,
yeah, you know, but I suppose going in them gates and looking around and everybody's different from you, and I never felt that I fitted in, or I never felt that I belonged, and that was probably internalized because there was no one like me there.
Oh, I love you,
and
Margaret.
I felt very isolated. Then I dragged Mikey back 10 years later. Keep me company.
Kicking and screaming.
I suppose not just for travellers, but for people returning to education a bit later. Like, it's very often their children are the impetus for them to really engage with education. You know, you spoke about being segregated at the back of the class. What you want to be going into honours for? Should you be married by the time you're 16 anyway? And then internalising this stereotype of being less than, and after a while really believing, you know, yourself.
It stays with you forever, like.
Yeah, I suppose after a while, like, if you deal with discrimination,
that's only one small part of it, like.
Yeah.
Like,
but for so long and so intensely, did you really believe the lie?
Yeah, you do.
In the discrimination.
You feel at that age you're kind of put into a box. You're meant to do this box. You're meant to do what your family did before you.
Yeah, you
you're
can't.
Not, like, in their mind, you're not like, okay, this is what you're going to do. We don't think really that you're going to accomplish much. Do you know what I mean? That kind of mind.
And I think the important, for me anyway, I think all it takes, and that's a lot of the reason I set up the network, and it's a lot of the reason I kind of supported lads and encouraged them to go back to college as well, is because for me personally, if one person believes in you, that's all it takes, one person. And I remember coming in out of the Access office, and I was like, I remember I could barely read or write going in. Now I could read a little, couldn't write to save my life. And I remember, and we were went into the class sitting in front of the computer, and I was just looking at it, and someone next door, or beside me, they were like, Max, you have to turn it on, like. Never in my life used a computer, never since that was at 38 years of age. Looked at this big box, this big monitor, and I was like, what do I do with this? And here I was with the whatever, and I tried to see do you know, so like to go in at that level in the Access course, hardly able to read or write or whatever, and like I was saying, I love English, I love literature, I love listening to people's stories. And there was a man on the Access course by the name of Martin Walters. And I went up and I explained to him, I said, look, I can't write. I said, what am I doing here? And I broke down crying because you had to have assignments in and everything. I couldn't type. I couldn't write. I didn't know how to use a computer. I was like, what in Jesus' name am I? So in fairness to him, he came over and he put me aside and he said, you know what, Margaret? He said, I'll interview you. I'll ask you. You tell me and you tell me the story. So I think it was on something around humanities and or whatever the case may be. And he was saying, Margaret, there's so many different ways of learning. Like, I'm a visual learner. I can, you know, if I do things, I'll watch, I'll listen and whatever. And that's the way travellers have been brought up, because we would have learned from our generation, like our fathers and mothers, grandfathers and all that. Like, it was all my relations in the slide today. So that was my father standing with the wagon, and the old man and woman, that was my grandmother and grandfather. And the other old woman was holding my father as a baby. So them photos are like 60, 70, 80 years old, whatever. You know, they'd bring you out, they'd show you, you know, they'd show the boys all the welding, the blacksmithing, the tentsmithing and all that kind of thing. For us, it was all the baking, you know, making the roasts and all that. So we're visual learners. And
when you were a child,
I
don't know how far from UL you are, but would you have been on campus here in UL?
No, I'm originally from Kerry, Tralee.
Okay. Just in terms of breaking cycles and whatnot,
Mikey had a huge following of children on campus today, accompanying him in his singing, and I suppose
that happens to me everywhere. If I got that concert, I guess.
Oh, he does, yeah. He's I
expect. I couldn't tell you what song is.
If you go anywhere with Mikey, you just need to book the day off.
Yeah, just book the day off.
Yeah. Even gone into pennies.
Yeah. And then we look at the girls like, leave him alone.
I think the president of the college, Shankill Commons, was saying it's like see it to be it.
Yeah.
And to see all those...
I found his speech very inspiring.
It was good, yeah.
It was lovely.
But to see, all these traveller children on campus in a university made feel this is a space where you belong.
Yeah.
And also looking up at so many role models on the stage, enforcing that this is their place, it belongs to them as much as anyone else.
Basically tell them you have a place there, you can come and achieve what you want to achieve.
I spoke very briefly to Martin Casey.
Yeah.
He was talking about spending hours at homework, and I'll have said it again today, we need to get it right at primary school first.
Early, yeah.
I can really speak of my experience in primary school. I was put on a desk, when all the students were, in my class were all at their desk beside each other. I was put on the desk in the corner by myself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's very secluded, you know what I mean?
And where were you physically in the class? Were you at the back of the class?
So I was in the classroom.
They'd separate you.
They literally put you on one desk over in the corner, right next to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And you're the corner by yourself, and if all your friends be able possible to make friends or anything, and you feel so secluded, and you feel kind of stupid in a way because they're there and you have no one. You're there with a helper and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it makes you feel kind of angry. What's wrong with me in your own mind? You know what I mean?
What's annoying is that they don't even assess traveller children, and we done that when the network done that research. The
TEG report.
Yeah. So when we done that, and it's ironic, because what happened to me happened exactly to my son, who's 22, and. That's 30 years of a 25.
It's still going on.
Do you know what I mean? And it's still happening to the younger.
My niece Nikita, she goes to secondary school.
And just are you talking about automatically being designated as special needs learners, or just?
It's mainly the stereotyping, and it's the assumption and the presumption.
That's what it is.
And it's the segregation. So when they see traveller children come in, I'll give you an example. My son did very well in primary school. Brains to burn, and he actually done an aptitude test to get into the secondary school, and he got the third highest, and so that was grand. He went in and and after 2 or 3 months, then obviously they found out he was a traveller, because it was in the country school. He was the only traveller there apart from his brothers. So then I started noticing then that he was being kind of pulled back, and I was wondering. Now I know teenagers, they hate homework anyway, so he was only delighted he wasn't getting as much. But make a long story short, so then he was getting nothing at all, and I said, Jesus, this is ridiculous. So went over one day, and they actually had him in a room colouring pictures of horses and carts and lurcher dogs.
Yeah, instead of what was he supposed to be doing
in the class.
And what were the other children doing? They were doing.
They were all in their class learning whatever.
Yeah. My
son then would have been pulled out of 3 or 4 different classes.
Even though he was the top 3 for aptitude.
Yeah, highly intelligent. And I never forget it. One day I was walking in, I was collecting him, and one of the teacher was standing outside the door, and her back was turned to me, and talk about being triggered. But she said, "You'll never amount to anything, or you'd probably be gone off anyway when you were about 16, and all this kind of a thing." And the exact same thing was said to me 30 years previously. Now you'd like to believe with all these, these anti-bullying and anti-this and anti-that, and you'd imagine that teachers are kind of... It still happens, but people don't believe you when you say it. It happens exactly.
She goes to secondary school.
It's not as obvious,
the teacher, I want to go for this extra extended course thing or something, or extra extended class. I want to do what the other girls are doing.
And the mothers are going in fighting to get keep their children.
Are you sure? I don't think you're able for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a thing to say, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my nieces are very clever,
we might
they're very extremely well in school. You know
so both their mothers are after doing a master's.
They did masters, money.
We might link back to the top of the episode, really, if you don't mind. And you talked about the social media that's out there, and it's predominantly bad in terms of the traveller culture.
That's what it is. That's why I think social media is great in one way, because I guess they show the funny side of it. Mm-hmm. Show that we're not the bad people. You know what I mean?
Positive side.
I like showing the positive side. I like showing anything that comes up like this thing today. I love showing these because it's a positivity step for my community. To show the good side, because like I said, the newspapers, they only show the bad side. They never put, if you look at the newspaper, there's nothing ever good in them. You know what I mean? There's not anything good about it. They're all bad.
This and that and everything.
They're all clickbait to get the clicks.
That said, there was a group of travellers graduated from here.
I think
we mentioned
that. Besides 2 million hits.
So 2 million hits.
Yeah. Besides that one.
But it's the first time in the history of any university in Ireland that 12 14 of us graduated
14 of you, yeah,
on the
graduated,
same
yeah.
day, and like 12 of us were from the Limerick Traveller Network that myself and Olive,
But
founded,
besides that
yeah.
point, yeah, they're making good steps at that point. But like, look how many years it took them to do it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Huh?
So I was talking about what Martin was saying. He said something powerful, I think. Martin is studying here to be a teacher, but he also volunteers with, is it Limerick Suicide Prevention?
Yeah.
There's another word attached to it, but the people who walk the bridges. And
I think it's amazing what he does. It really is.
And he said, in his experience, loneliness is a common theme for people who are...
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like he told me, I was talking to him earlier there, and he said it doesn't matter, Mikey. He said it doesn't matter who we are. Like even though we're travellers, and it doesn't make a difference. That the common thing between everyone I talk to is it's loneliness. It's loneliness, it's sadness, it's depression.
This kind of loneliness and isolation. Obviously, it's exacerbated greatly by being actually physically isolated by teachers.
Yeah.
And so hopefully if there's any teachers listening, stop
Yes,
doing that
please.
to travellers.
That's it, please, yeah.
But also, when he came to UL first, there's a lot of imposter syndrome going on.
Yeah.
I get it myself a lot. I'd be walking around the corridors here and I'm waiting for the knock at the door. Come on, Dan, we found you out. But he said education doesn't discriminate. People do. So I thought that was powerful as well.
Like when he said that point, that really like hit a nerve for me. I was like, that's amazing. Do you believe it? Huh? And it's true. He's right. Huh?
Yeah, he spoke about spending hours at the homework and being singled out and derogatory language and things like that.
Like since I came to the college now and I done my thing, I've like received nothing but support, and like everyone's been kind and lovely and stuff. I can't nothing bad said about the college. It's only the schools, the primary schools and the secondary schools. That's where I had the problems. Huh, to be honest with you, that's where I felt left out. Huh?
Saint Odelia Dan.
I won't lie, that's
Saint,
amazing.
yeah.
She really is amazing, honest to God.
She spoke about a 1963 report.
That was it.
on,
That's it.
I'm
The
gonna,
itinerary report, yeah.
yeah, on itinerancy, or I mean, it's even a ridiculous word.
Itinerary.
Yeah.
Itinerary.
And the focus was on assimilation.
Forced assimilation.
We actually we had Katie Walsh here during the week, and Katie is a 14-year-old student down in
Castle Island.
In Castle Island,
Yep.
and she's written a guide for teachers. She's visually impaired. And she's written a guide for teachers and students on how to approach school with a visual impairment.
Yeah.
She said something very powerful. She said, "I don't need a cure."
Yeah.
And that level
Just
of
need to be accepted.
that level of
Exactly.
self-acceptance. I suppose this report that Adele spoke about, she said the focus was on assimilation.
Yeah.
Almost, the other time I hear the word assimilation, Star Trek fans out there, the Borg, you will be assimilated, you will become like us. I suppose the idea was it was forcing
I'm
travellers.
not your father.
But I think there's a quote in that report as well. I think because like the government never recognised travellers as our own ethnic group
Yeah.
that time.
That's a reasonably new development.
Yeah, 2017. Yeah.
But that's a good point you make, like, because like you said, the girl, the visually impaired kind of, and like that like obviously we were not, but like in the space of like the way who we are.
But I
That's
suppose
the way we kind of felt. You know what I mean? As well, like. What we want to do is fit in.
Yeah. I suppose they never realised travellers as an ethnicity.
No.
And I suppose they kind of felt in that travellers were deliberately. Do you know? I suppose you were kind of. What was the term he used? Was it like waywards of the society or something like that? Basically referring to travellers.
Outcast kind of.
Whatever word Charlie High used, but basically he was basically saying that travellers were intentionally like wanting to live in caravans and wanting to do this, and we were deliberately like kind of rebelling against society, and we were deliberately, all this kind of thing, like, but like our community, our culture, our tradition, our heritage was never recognised.
And that couldn't be more wrong.
Yeah.
We're
completely different, as you know.
All we want is to fit in.
Yeah.
Like that's all any traveller wants is to fit in.
I suppose it highlighted the lack of understanding at the time.
And it is a complete lack of understanding, and the health outcomes for travellers got significantly worse as a result of this report. But we do have travellers now working as primary healthcare workers.
Yeah.
And there was a lady, I can't remember her name, from Kilmallock.
Oh, Noreen.
Yeah. And she said that they discovered there was 4 times as many travellers in Kilmallock as the census had found.
Yeah. Do you know what it is? When the girls went in and
people
all the
don't
girls
register,
went in.
you see.
Yeah.
See, the girls went in actually. They went to the doors and knocked on people's doors and actually found out what the surveys that was done before. They weren't done properly. There was a lot more people. Do you know
But
what I
that's
mean?
again, it's again because of like lack of literacy skills.
No.
So if a fella rocks up to the door and he's a big long 10-page form, and you're looking at it, and you're going
And
to
you
throw it in the
can't-
bin
obviously
and lock
you're
the
not-
door the next time
yeah.
your man comes to collect it. So that's a
No.
lot of the reason why a lot of travellers aren't accounted for.
Yeah, but then in terms of providing services,
Yeah,
like
but
if
travellers
just,
don't understand that, you see. It's
well, I suppose, if they understand why you're collecting the information, it might
Yeah.
be a little bit more
Yeah.
obliging
Yeah,
as
do you
well.
know
Like,
what I mean?
and also to have people coming to them from their own community.
Exactly,
rather than
and
some
explaining
outside,
it in person,
Or someone trying to force you to be something you're not.
No.
There's a lady there now. You'll have her real name. I heard people referring to her as Pinky.
Skinny?
Maybe it was Skinny.
Skinny.
It's
No.
probably Skinny.
Her name
She's
is Noreen.
Noreen, all right.
That's my cousin.
Yes, that's another Noreen as
Noreen
well.
O'Reilly.
Yeah.
She's
Is she also a primary healthcare worker now as well?
She is in
She is,
Kilmallock, yeah.
she's-
Yeah, and she was saying now, even though she is a traveller, like the travellers are only just kind of starting to trust them now.
Yeah, yeah,
Because I don't know, is it that they're working for the state or
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Country people.
yeah.
yeah.
What do you want? Will my door be stopped?
And in terms of schools as well, I saw this on the slides.
Yeah.
Whose history is missing from the wall in the school? So if you go into a primary school, there's
Travellers,
yeah.
traveller history.
Yeah.
You want to see that?
Yeah.
But I won't lie, I used to have it till there was a teacher called he passed away now. I think I forget his name, but he was a lovely teacher years ago in primary school. But when he was there now, he used to have all everyone that all the oldest people on my side now. He used to have all pictures of them up in his room and in his wall. All them would pitch them on horses and their lists and everything. There was one teacher in the school years ago. He went there when I was there. But he was there, I know, because I used to walk him and pick up my siblings and stuff. I used to see it on the wall. She used to be one teacher used to do years ago. But after he left, it all got took away.
That's very rare now, Mikey. you'd
But
say.
it is very rare, I won't lie.
Like, it's great that they're celebrating
It's
other
very
different
rare, that.
cultures. Do you know what I
It's
mean?
very
They'll
rare,
have they'll have all Ukrainian Day or all this whatever kind of. Do you know what I mean? But it's very, very rare that you'd actually hear Traveller Culture Day. Do you know what I mean?
You never.
Well, I suppose that's why today is important,
Yeah.
and it's not the first one, and it's not the first one I've been at.
Yeah.
So
It's the first one for you, though.
yeah. On that, I was speaking.
I push for that.
I
Well,
was
well, in the absence of us.
When I did see that flag up today, it did give me some sense of okay, there is a place for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We do.
Making our stand.
We are making a stand, and even I said to the national men's the head team today, the boys that came up. Look at that! I said, a major university. Said this is the third major university that actually because the next they're trying to put one in Trinity as well. But so that's what I said to them. It's amazing, honest to God. It's such a proud moment. It really is for me, anyways.
But I was talking earlier about walking around UL at 17, and I see this come out wherever you are, and queer bash, and it's a play on words, whatever. But that was from out in UL, which is the UL kind of gay, lesbian, transgender society. But I think very much things changed very rapidly for gay people and gay rights because of this concept they have. They developed called allyship. So it's almost like I saw people joining out in UL who were straight. I said, "Why are you joining the gay society if you're straight?" And they're, "Well, I can be an ally. I can help.
Support them, yeah.
I can be an advocate and support gay people, even though I'm not gay."
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, have you any ideas on how people who might be listening today, maybe teachers, maybe principals, in terms of whose history is missing from the wall, but how can settled people or country people or buffers or whatever label we're having, how can they be allies and different things we could do to
just kind of
to be small acts of inclusion.
Do you know what's nice? For me, what I would have liked, and I'm going to speak for myself. When I went to school, I would like for even the teacher come to me and say, "Listen, you have if anything I can do to help you, I will help you. You have a place here. You know what I mean? If you and I would have liked and say if teachers kind of made me fit in with the people in my class. Let me sit beside them. You know what I mean? Let's just be normal. Just feel normal. Do you know what I mean?
It's a kind of a small ask, but it's the reality, I suppose.
Just to feel normal.
Yeah, just not to have your own biased perception. Do you know what I mean? Regardless, because obviously discrimination, racism is learnt at home at the kitchen table.
No,
do you know what I mean?
No.
So you have children listening to their parents and so on and so forth. And because I remember my kids going to school, They were never invited to birthday parties or anything like that. You know, the kids are listening to that at home, and then they're growing up, then they're going to college, then they're becoming teachers, they're becoming guards, they're becoming lecturers, they're becoming, and that internal bias is going through generations to generations, and they hold on to that. Do you know what I mean? So I suppose the only message, like, just accept people for who they are. That's all. Like, don't judge us. Don't. Do you know what I mean? Just accept us.
Do you know what it is? Like, Margaret, accept someone at face value. Don't accept that. Don't worry about who they are. Accept someone what like it's like you hear. It's like someone said you, "Oh, did you hear about this thing? Well, did you hear about this person?" Go to the person yourself and hear from the horse's mouth. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
kind of that thing. You know what I mean? Accept the person at face value.
And I suppose, like when I hear you being put off on the desk on your own, I mean, that's very
it was
drastic
like,
physical isolation.
I didn't have a see
but like, what message does that give to a child? That you're othered, you're not wanted, you're not part
that's the way
of
it felt for me. I'll be honest with you, like, you know what I mean?
You know,
and, like,
and then when you go to the local shop, you're not left in the local bar, you're not left in, you're constantly.
It's obviously like my family, obviously social welfare and stuff. Like, and when I was in school, like there was big trips coming up, and like all the children were going on big trips. Like, my family couldn't afford it. And it was kind of, you sit in the classroom 2 or 3 hours, you know what I mean, in that kind of way as well. Do you know what I mean? It was very like secluding. You felt work, like for me, I felt kind of worked. Like I was like, I don't have what they have, you know what I mean? In that kind of way as well. Do you know what I mean?
In a way, you internalise that. It's in the back of your mind, and you start to feel that, you know,
it does. It causes a lot of depression.
That you actually deserve it.
When I was,
and it becomes really. But then in another sense, the people who are doing it, after a while, they start to think this is valid. This is the way it should be.
Yeah,
because
it's discrimination is normalised.
And yes, it becomes so normalised. And like you spoke about the pub.
Yeah.
I mean, it's if you take any Irish village, I know society's changing, but what you have a school, a church, and a pub, right? And a shop, and that's what you have. And if you know, if you're not welcome in,
of course,
in these spaces and othered in them, you are at a massive disadvantage.
But it's not that; it's also embarrassing because when you walk into a pub and they say, "Can I just have a dinner, please?" And like I'm the type of person I don't really drink, so if I go to a pub, I'll have a dinner. Saying, "Can I get a glass of milk or something like that?" If you ask for that, and if someone says someone's with me, say, "Can I have one drink?" Yeah, you can only have one. That's it. You have to leave after that.
Yeah, and
you know what I mean?
It strikes me about pubs especially because if I think of the pubs I drink in, and if a black man walked in and he was told he wasn't being served, I think most of the people
would
say it's racism.
They'd say, I'm not having that. It's racist.
Stand up for them,
but for whatever reason, it's still tolerated with travellers. And is there
like
something we can do in terms of allyship there?
I suppose basically don't just be the bystander.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Stand up and say,
if you see some traveller coming in and say, listen.
And like educate your children. That's the most important thing because they're the next generation grown up, and they're the next people that are going to be in the services that are dealing with travellers and whoever else. So I suppose just educate your children and teach them that, you know, it's not acceptable to judge
teach
people.
Your children a bit of kindness. Like if you see some traveller walking the bar and all they want is a bit of dinner. Like obviously, like be a good person and say, listen, like what's the problem here? Like is everything okay? Like what's wrong? You know what I mean? Like why can they not have it? Like what's going on here? Like and give people a chance to explain it. And like all I want is that I come in for dinner or there's a special occasion going on for my child to give her some food. So that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and even there's a wedding being planned in our house. I probably shouldn't be saying this, but we are considering drugging my mother.
Edit that out.
You know the way people be up to high dough for the occasions, and you know just that extra level.
Pop a few values to sherry.
To just that extra level of, you know, kind of fear, like when we get there,
anxiety.
Is it going to go well and everything?
Is there going to be an issue then to deal with in terms of discrimination? Then on top of that, you know, it's an added stress all the time. Okay, so we're kind of coming naturally to the end of our conversation today. So before we finish, I just want to ask you
That's
both.
Been good. I really enjoyed it.
Is there anything we should have asked you, or any points you want to make that should be there?
I'm okay. Like, what about you, Margaret? I just want to get it to a point across. Anything you want to say? Because I know you never shut up.
Thanks, Mikey. Says your man.
Yeah.
Who's done about 40 minutes of the interview? I've done about 3. But anyway.
You can have you back.
I suppose I just, because obviously we're in UL, and I suppose the theme of the day is around, travellers getting educated and empowered and stuff like that. I suppose and you're speaking about allies and social supports and stuff, and 14 travellers were able to go back and do a master's last year, and it's never been done within an organisation or ever in the history of a university or whatever. It would be great if other colleges and other, places could reiterate what we did. So I suppose really how it all started was like myself and Olive approached Edel in UL, said, look, we have women here, they really want to be educated, we've done loads of training, loads of prep with them, and everything else like that, and it would be absolutely fantastic if we could get these group of travellers. And when we were saying it to people, they were like, you're mad, never going to happen. The same way they said, you're never going to set up a network and bring all the families together in Limerick City, but we did. So basically our point being was, if you have proper lines of communication, and if the college and if the lecturers and the institution are willing to work with you and the proper supports are there, anything is achievable. And that is what has been lacking in schools, secondary schools, primary schools, other colleges, is because, and like myself and Olive would have kind of sat down, and we would have sat down with like Owen and Martin and all of them, all the lecturers in sociology, and we would have had an open discussion as to, what supports were needed, what they would need, if they needed learning supports, because like I said before, everybody has a different learning style. Everybody have mixed methods of teaching and lecturing, because as you know, like with college, it's like rote learning. You go into a big hall and you're like blah 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 blah, read the PowerPoint, whatever. So basically my point being is that like we went in and we opened the line, we knocked on UL's door. Did you
knock or did you kick it in?
Well,
JCB.
But yeah, so I suppose, and people kind of said, how did it happen? How did you make it work? It's very, very simple. It's like open the lines of communication, and everybody has to kind of compromise and come in the middle and say, look, okay, this will work and this will work. And then it's just a case of like, putting the supports and talking to the travellers and asking them, okay, what works for you? What doesn't work? Can we, adapt and compromise?
And I think Deirdre, what's Deirdre's last name?
O'Connor.
Deirdre O'Connor, the Access Office. She talk about co-designing programs and stuff like that, and I think that's very important.
But including travellers at the discussion and bringing us in, and like, I understand, lecturers, they have to like write their modules and all that kind of stuff as well. But it just goes to prove, like, we approached the sociology department. They were absolutely extremely, helpful, supportive, and look, they were genuine. They were like, we really want this to work. We really want you to pass. We really want you. And, Cindy as well. Because the open lines of discussions were open and communication, and we were able to adapt and compromise and over and back, it was a success. 14 women, and we've 7 now. We've 9 more of us graduating again this year.
Yeah,
I graduated last year and this year.
January.
Yes, yeah. And just on that, for the sake of saying to Adele O'Donnell, you don't need Adele's number, and you don't need to be ringing her directly all the time, because she does complain about that. Guys, today is Traveller Pride Day in UL, so happy Pride. June is Gay Pride Month?
Yeah, June is Gay Pride Month. But is it also Men's Mental Health? Or one month? That's one.
Don't know.
I don't know.
I think it's June. I heard about June Mental Health Month.
But, so you have 2 months of Pride to look forward to.
Can't wait.
Guys, thanks for coming in and sharing your story. And I think these conversations are important, and we'll be very receptive to having some more.
Definitely. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. Amazing.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Education on the Margins. If you enjoy and are learning from these podcasts, please follow us on all platforms. We'd also greatly appreciate an honest review of the podcast on any of our pod streaming platforms. This is the best way to support our pod. Thank you again for listening, and we look forward to providing even more insights, knowledge and learning in the next one.